This is the new media panel, during which we are going to discuss the, if you're not familiar with the term new media, this is kind of what's grown up recently around all of this sort of internet type media forms, all the non-traditional media forms. We'll be scaling our combats kind of in two general categories. First, as published authors, how these things are useful to us, and secondly, how you might be able to use them as aspiring pros, those in the audience who are aspiring pros. Let's just get started by asking the simple question for each of those two groups: why? What is the point in just kind of overview general terms? Why care about this stuff?
I think the main reason to care about this stuff is to try to expand your visibility and the knowledge of your brand as far as you can.
That's putting it pretty succinctly.
Nutshell.
Yeah.
How about you?
A couple thoughts on this. Number one, I would keep in mind that this is another type of self-promotion. And a lot of the things we said on the self-promotion panel apply here too. A rule of thumb on all sorts of new media, in general, this sort of stuff is kind of a all-in or all-out sort of deal. There are some things you can just kind of dabble your feet in and it'll be okay, but for a lot of these things, either you're going to have to dedicate a lot of time to it to make it work, or you probably want to back off. It's good because it's publicity, as Rebecca defined it yesterday, publicity being free and advertising being expensive. It's free except for time. And
there is a cost for your time.
Yeah, there is a cost for your time.
Productivity.
But to kind of answer my own question with a story, back in around 2004, a 30-something younger guy, I guess, 30-something, I don't know. In publishing, that counts as a young guy. 30-something guy decided one day, I want to be a novelist. Never written a novel before, and decided he just wanted to be a novelist. Wrote a novel in a couple of months. Actually, I talked to him about it. He went to the bookstore and said, okay, what looks like is selling. He went home, wrote a book in a couple of months, and within 1 month had a book deal on it. Okay? This is going flying in the face of a lot of things I've told you. This person was John Scalzi. Has anyone heard of John Scalzi? John Scalzi was AOL's blogger. For the entire company, he was their blogger, and was also a blogger for several other large companies, and had his own blog with tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of hits. And he was able to leverage his blogging fame into a book deal, because he started posting chapters of his book on his blog. And an editor at Tor was a fan of his blog and a reader and said, wow, this is pretty good, and contacted him directly after he posted several of the chapters and bought the book. So, that's
the only trick to that is that you have to write something good that people will want to read.
Yeah, exactly. The idea is John Scalzi was able to leverage all of this work he'd already done into it. But I guess to keep in mind, one thing I was thinking of when I was preparing for this panel is kind of trying to describe it in formula terms. Publication equals product plus access. Really, when you're looking at it as a new author, you got to have a really good product, which you talked about, and then somehow you have to get access to the publishing industry in some way. And you can have varying amounts of how good your product is and varying amounts of how good your access is. And those things are going to change. But really, you can only control a little bit of each one, but you should learn to control what you can. I guess you can control more, I think, of the product than you can the access through practice and things like that. But our job really is to talk about the access.
Well, you can't really control it unless you can actively seek out, say, a company like AOL to make you their blogger.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you get access to all of their people.
Mm-hmm.
That's not actually a shortcut any more than writing a bestseller novel is a shortcut, because you still have to do something good that people want to read or that people want to hire you for to give you access to their platform.
Exactly. And there are a lot of different ways to gain access as a new writer. So new media is one of these ways, but again, we'll also talk about once you get published, new media can be a very valuable tool to you. So anything else you want to say starting off about this concept before you start going down the types of new media?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll come up.
Let's go down the list of types of new media. The big one has already been mentioned, and that is blogging.